Contestant is Cheryl Reynolds. My quilt of life, Cheryl Reynolds.
Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, Mr. Contest Master. One of my earliest memories is of my great-grandmother Hutchinson. She was a remarkable woman, resilient. She came to Kansas in a covered wagon. She was a farm wife before there was automation. My grandfather did not allow tractors on his farm. She was brave and courageous. She'd buried a child and then a husband of 70 years. And I owe her a debt that she would never want me to repay. Some of my best memories are from my grandmother. Warm peanut butter cookies out of the oven, crisscrossed with her old fork. Plain boiled sweet potatoes. No cinnamon and sugar on hers, straight out of Grandpa's garden. Quilts. My grandmother made quilts. They were always beautiful. They were always warm. But most importantly to Grandma, they were functional. One day, when I was about 7, she brought me into the living room and sat me down and said, "You're going to learn how to make a quilt today. We're going to make a doll quilt. You're going to piece the top together. And here's the first step. Here's my rag bag. Pick out of this bag what you want to use in your quilt." It might have been a bag of old rags, but it was a bag of precious memories to me. Because if you went through Grandma's rag bag, there were pieces of Grandpa's old shirt, and I could remember him wearing them when under his overalls, when he played turkey on the straw on his harmonica. There were pieces of Grandma's blue gingham dress, which I can remember her serving us lemonade and cookies in the afternoons. There were pieces of outfits that she'd made for my sister and I. So there were memories there. It was a treasure that I got to pick from, and I got to take those memories and make them into something new going forward. My grandmother really taught me 3 lessons that have served me well in life. The first lesson is she taught me that first and foremost, family matters. Secondly, life experiences are like quilt blocks. You get to piece them together to make something new and different going forward. Thirdly, fabrics are memories. You get to throw away the old worn out ones or the bad ones and just keep the good ones and put them into your quilt block to go forward. You get to pick and choose. Grandma taught me that first lesson, that family matters, simply by spending time with me, by letting me benefit from her life experiences, to see her strength, to see how she handled adversity. I had my own adverse life experience. I had breast cancer. I would never, ever give up that life experience. And that probably sounds odd. Why would I want to keep that one? But being a breast cancer survivor taught me things about myself and about how to draw from experiences and reshape them into new things that nothing in my life ever has. So it was an important experience to me. I can remember the day I got that call. You know, you always get the call from the doctor's office, the one you don't want. I was in my 50s and they called me up and gave me the news. And I can remember my exact first thought is, maybe I won't outlive my mom's lifespan after all. I always thought I would. My mother died at age 60 of cancer. 9 months before that, my 36-year-old sister died of cancer. I had a lot of reasons to be frightened that day. I had a family history. I had family experiences. I had statistics, and then they're throwing scary words at you like chemotherapy and mastectomy and radiation. And it's all very, very overwhelming. But I made a choice that day to shape that experience in a different way. I drew on my past experiences and I picked what I was going to do. I decided to focus on what my life had taught me that I did well. Great at researching. I got online. I found out all kinds of information. I took power. I fired my doctor. I went to Mayo. I chose a different path. I focused on what was important. I built my quilt out of the positive experiences that I wanted to go forward. And then there have memories. And I can't tell you that every memory I had from that time was a good one, because a lot of them were not great. But just like that bag of rags, I got to choose which ones I kept and which ones I decided to toss out. I remember going to do some research and finding an organization called Project Pink. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them, but they're an amazing group of women and tattoo artists nationwide. And they're women who have had breast cancer, who've decided to treat their scars as their body quilt, or so to speak. Some of them have put beautiful flower tattoos over their scars. Others have put funny things like Frankenstein stitches on them. Still others have just tried to camouflage them. No matter what their choices, though, I felt an immediate bond with them. I was part of that sisterhood, and I got to choose what to do. Now, I didn't choose anything fancy. You're not going to find pictures of me on Pinterest. I went pretty much in a traditional reconstruction route, but it still taught me that those lessons were important. Family matters, even if that family is a bunch of sisters you've never met. Life experiences are building blocks to your future. You get to decide how you put them together and which experiences go into your quilt pattern. And memories are important, but you don't have to keep them all. You get to choose which memories to give power to in your life going forward. In the end, we're all quilts, and I thank you today for sharing my story of my quilt of life. Thank you.